Yo, what's up guys? You're back with your man Tech Nick, your go-to guy for videos on the latest tech. Now today it's about the latest tech, the Nubia Z20 over here. Last edition we had was the Z18, which came out in the last year, so we skipped a name change over there, and we have another dual screen phone, one at the front, one at the bottom. The front one, though for the first time seen in a dual display phone, is that we have a curved AMOLED panel in the front, because the Vivo Next dual display, which is Vivo's iteration of dual displays after the Nubia X came out, which was the first dual display screen, both of them had flat panels. The Nubia X had an IPS display, which kind of sucked, that's why I didn't get it. And the Nubia, though it had an AMOLED screen in the front, it was flat. And the main reason I didn't get it is because it had this strange ring around the cameras at the back, which actually ate into the back screen over there. So this has a 5.1 inch display at the back of the phone and a 6.42-inch display in the front of the phone, which is AMOLED and it is curved, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like. We have some side fingerprint scanners. The most important thing I just want to quickly touch on before we go into the unboxing is that this phone is actually paired with a Snapdragon 855 Plus processing chip, and that is said to have an increase of 4% in the CPU department and an increase of 15% in the GPU department. Now that is not huge factors as opposed to the ordinary Snapdragon 855 chipset, but the Snapdragon 855 Plus processing chip has only been seen in the Black Shark 2 Pro and the ROG Phone 2, which are both gaming phones, so we've finally seen such a performing monster CPU chip inside of a regular phone, but regular, not so much. Let's go ahead and find out in the unboxing. Without further ado guys, let's go. Okay guys, so it didn't come paired in the box, but in a separate box that Nubia sent me, we got given this flimsy old school silicone case, which I absolutely hate. It would have been nice to get a hardcover case, but I'm really interested to see how this actually works since the back screen is touchscreen. So I don't know, we're gonna have to check that out later, so I'll pop that on for you guys a little bit later. Now the phone is here in the box, but we're gonna go ahead and just slide that to the side to see what else is in the box. And I'm gonna open up here. Wow, that's actually really interesting. They put it all in one little box here. So the first thing that we have, wow, is a nice red USB Type-C to Type-C cable. This is the exact same cable that we got with the Nubia Red Magic 3, and obviously we have this little dongle which goes from Type-C to 3.5mm headphone jack, since we don't have a headphone jack on the phone itself. Now this Type-C cable, talking about it, we're only going to get OTG speeds or transfer speeds between our PC and our mobile device of USB 2.0, so don't expect the fastest speeds there. Nevertheless, I like how this is Type-C to Type-C. It means that we have a Type-C straight into the charging port there, and this is very useful for charging other devices up and using your Nubia Z20 as a power bank. Here is the block itself over here. Now this is actually exactly the same block that came with the Nubia Red Magic 3. It is indeed 27 watts, which means that we're going to juice up this wonderful 4000 milliampere battery in no time. And speaking about milliamperes in a battery, yes, we have 5000 milliamperes in the Red Magic 3, but this phone is competing with other phones in its brackets, and that is the Vivo Next dual display and the previous dual display phone from Nubia, which is the Nubia X. So that means that this phone comes with a 4000 milliampere battery, the Nubia X comes with a 3800 milliampere battery, and the Vivo actually came with a 3500 milliampere battery. So they are up in their game when it comes to this, but in that turn they have indeed made the phone a bit bigger. But nevertheless, we do have a 27 watt charger to boost up that 4000 milliampere battery there, which is really awesome and great to see. Now guys, I have been comparing this phone a lot to the likes of the other dual display phones, but in turn this looks a lot like the Oppo Find X, but more importantly, a lot like the OnePlus 7 Pro, and I think that is one of their biggest rivals. If you take a look at the back here, it's actually got this glossy look. This is a black phone, but it's got the glossy look, and in this lighting you can clearly see that there is indeed a screen over there. You've tried to hide it, but you can definitely see that it is there. It doesn't look too bad in my opinion, and it's really not that heavy. It is on a bit on the thick side, but it's not too heavy. So we're gonna go ahead and power it on. We have this power button, maybe. I actually think it's in one of the fingerprint sensors, so okay. So the fingerprint sensor on the right side, oh, and on the left side, they're both buttons, guys. So that's really cool. So while it powers on, let's talk about what's around the phone over here. So we got these fingerprint sensors on the side of the device here, which is really cool. We actually have one on the right and one on the left. So the nice thing about it is, yes, they talk about being a lefty and you can use it on your left hand, but actually when you flip it around, the left one becomes a righty and the same for the other way around. And because the phone is actually pretty narrow, you can actually use this finger for that one, or the thumb over here, any of your fingers. Actually put all your fingers on both of them, and whichever one taps it is the one that you go for, which is really cool to see. So we also have the volume rock over here. I do prefer them to be split, but nevertheless it looks pretty cool. Then at the top over here we have no form of a headphone jack, and actually no form of anything really. It's just a bit clean over there, which is nice to see. On the left hand side we do have the SIM tray, and I just want to make sure that we can't pop in a micro SD, and I'm pretty sure we can't. And there we go guys, we have dual SIM, but we do not have an option for a micro SD card. So the biggest that you're going to get in here is 512 gigs, but they haven't announced it yet, so we're going to stick to 128. And then on the left here you guys can see that other button and fingerprint sensor. It's really cool that it's a button on both sides, that you can unlock the phone with the left or you can unlock the phone with the right. That's really awesome. I've never seen that before. Okay, and taking a look at the bottom, we do have a single downward firing speaker over here. And let's take a look at the top over here. We do have a speaker. This will double up as another speaker because this phone does come with a DTS sound. We don't have one at the bottom over here, but that's okay. This is not a gaming phone, and I'm pretty sure the sound will sound pretty much like the S10 Plus or maybe even the OnePlus 7 Pro, since that does seem to be its take on rivalry over here. Then we have the Type-C port over there at the bottom, which is pretty cool to see. And then at the back we have the camera setup, and then we have this whole back design. We have the little Nubia logo at the bottom over there, which is nice and neatly tucked away. We have this 5.1 inch AMOLED display on the back here. This is not curved, this is just a flat panel, but it does indeed show you always on stuff, and it is there for using the back cams as your selfie cams, which is really epic if you ask me. Now talking about these cameras over here, obviously there is no selfie cam since the back cameras are actually used to take your selfies. And the three cameras that we have over here, the main one is indeed a Sony IMX586 48 megapixel sensor, which is really awesome to see. Now the cool thing about that is that most companies decide not to throw in OIS because of expenses, I guess, but they have decided to throw optical image stabilization on the 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 sensor, which is awesome to see, guys. And then we also have an 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and that can do 3 times optical zoom and 30 times hybrid zoom. So I'm gonna have to test that one out for you guys in a full camera review. So stay tuned for that one, guys. Last but not least, we actually have an ultra wide sensor, a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor for those zoomed out pics, and that's 122 degrees, which is pretty impressive, higher than most of the competitors out there. Now, I'm really excited to see how these flashes work because we have 2 dual flashes, one on the left and one on the right, so it should make you look absolutely spectacular, and that is pretty much the target for Chinese people over here. They want to make themselves look as good as possible when it comes to photography. And another thing I just want to mention here, guys, is I've actually noticed there is another speaker over here at the back of the phone, which is really interesting to see. So we have one at the front and at the back. I'm not sure if that changes when you flip the phone from front to back or if they're used at the same time, but it'll be really interesting to see. We'll have to check that out in a full review. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and run through the setup process of the phone, and I'll see you guys on the other side. So here is the 6.42 inch AMOLED curved front facing display, and I must say it looks absolutely stunning. I've never seen something come so close to a Samsung or OnePlus display of the OnePlus 7 Pro, but this does a fine job at doing so. You guys can see that the display is indeed curved at the front over here. It looks seriously breathtaking. This does not seem like a $500 phone if you ask me. But the coolest thing about this display is that it has a little brother. And I'm gonna just go ahead and show him for you. So there we go. We just tap on the screen and flip him around, and there we go, guys. We have a secondary display. I like the fact that they've actually rounded the edges of the display to make it feel a little bit more immersive. I really like how it looks, but at the same time, I kind of don't, because it really has like a yellow glow if you take a look at how it looks at the back of the phone. But that is because it is underneath Gorilla Glass, underneath a back glass of the phone to keep it nice and protective. So I guess I could kind of forgive them in that respect. But this phone is all about that front display. You're never going to be using this back one, really. The only reason that you would need to use it is for that selfie cam, or if you decide to lock your phone and have an incredible always on display on the back, or flip it over and have that incredible always on display in the front. And talking about what is cool about this phone, Like I said earlier, guys, we have these fingerprint sensors. Now I just unlocked the phone over there. You guys can see that I've registered my index finger. I've also registered my thumb. If you just rest them, it unlocks the phone pretty snappy. So the cool thing is that if I use my right index finger on the left hand side here, it unlocks, and if I use my thumb as well, it will also unlock the device, so it keeps its memory on both of the scanners. Now if we turn the phone around and we unlock it, you'll see that it automatically switches to the back of the phone, which is really cool. And if we lock the phone and flip it back around, it will do the same thing. We do have this hovering pad over here where you can flip it over and tap it again to flip back over, which is really convenient and quick, but at the same time annoying that it's on the screen, though I have seen in settings that you can take this off. I just kept it there to show you guys what it's all about. Now another cool thing about this phone is that we actually have pressure sensitive zones at the bottom here. And I'm not just talking about the curved edges of the screen, I'm not even going to touch the curves. And if I squeeze on the side here without touching the edges, you guys can see I just took a snapshot. If I do a short press, I customized this in settings just a few seconds ago. If I do a short press, we will go ahead and open up the camera, and there it is, guys. I think that is really epic because the only phone that I know that does that other than HTC is the new ROG Phone 2, and that's really cool. But the main reason you can do it is because of those captive triggers that you actually have on the phone, and we don't have those here because it is not a gaming phone. But guys, this has a gaming feature, and it actually has the same game space that you actually see in the Nubia Red Magic 3. This is exactly the same game space, and even though this is not a gaming phone, we have a Snapdragon 855 plus processing chip in here, which is better than the Nubia Red Magic 3. Though remember, guys, this only has a 60 frames per second screen. This only has a 60 Hz screen on it, where the Red Magic 3 indeed has a 90 Hz refresh rate panel on it. But if you guys go ahead and check my refresh rate test that I did on the ROG Phone 2, Black Shark 2 Pro, and the Red Magic 3, you guys will notice that anything more than 60 Hz is actually kind of overkill when it comes to gaming. So if you do want to use a gaming device, but you don't want to get a device that looks like a gaming device, this could be the phone for you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and just tap right out of game space, so I can just click quit over there, and we're out of it, guys. Now I just want to talk about one or two shortcomings of the device, and the one thing being that I did connect it to a VPN here in China, and I did decide to go ahead and download a Play Store APK and install it. I've also installed the Google services, but unfortunately when you tap in it, the same problem that I had with the Nubia Red Magic 3 when it launched until global software became available, is that you cannot go into the Play Store. You have to sideload apps through an app called Play Now. There's actually a couple different apps like that to sideload apps, so it's not the end of the world if it is not your daily driver right in the beginning. But if you guys want to buy a brand new phone right now and use it every day, all day, you're probably going to want to avoid this one until it gets a global launch. But I can assure you that if you guys do indeed pick up the Chinese one, you will get that global ROM. So if you want to just deal with that for now, I did flash my Red Magic 3 and put on global ROM. It took me literally 3 minutes to do, and it is completely global, so you will have the same thing with this. So I did lose a couple of the features, so you'll probably lose a couple awesome features on this phone too. Now before we wrap this video up, guys, because of that dual display screen, I just want to see if the cover that they sent me for this phone is going to do it any justice here. It fits nice and snug, I must say. If we go ahead and unlock the phone, it actually works, guys. I can't believe it. So that is really cool that it works, and I guess this is kind of why it has to be a silicone case, and I guess this is also why they sent this cover. They've customized this cover especially for this phone, so that's really awesome to see, guys. So yeah, now like I said, guys, let's go ahead and just jump straight into the camera. So here is my friend Groot, and he's gonna aid us in the camera performance of the phone. There's no need to test out selfies here because they work on both sides of it. So the first shot that we have looks really good and really detailed. You guys can see that the lighting conditions in this room is not the best, but the photo looks really crisp and clear. When it comes to the 3x optical zoom shot, you guys can actually see that we are losing a little bit of detail there, but it still looks phenomenal, guys. I can't wait to test that out outdoors. Then when it comes to the ultra wide shot, you guys can clearly see that we have gone out quite a bit over there, and he still looks just as good as his main lens, though not quite as good as that IMX586 sensor. Once again, we're gonna have to do a proper test to see how this looks, and the depth effect looks really good. I can't see any edge detection there whatsoever. It looks absolutely brilliant. So when you go onto the phone itself and you tap flip, it says it is going to switch to the other screen. Don't show this again. And as soon as we do it, it's flipped to the other side, and there I am, guys. So I'm gonna try to take a snap of myself real quick and see what that looks like. So that first shot looks absolutely epic, guys. I never thought a selfie cam would look so good, and that is because a selfie cam has never looked so good, because we're actually using our main sensors over here. The next one that we have, that ultra wide, I was absolutely astonished by this. It looks incredible. And then that last shot, the bokeh looks really good. I can't see any noticeable edge detection blur there. It looks really impressive, and this is just indoors, and I cannot wait to show you guys a full camera review of the phone itself. Overall, I'm really impressed with the Nubia Z20. It does kind of suck that we don't have Google services off the bat, but I'm going to try to see what I can do to make a workaround. So for those of you who are slightly interested in the phone and maybe wants to import one, will not be left disappointed without Google. Now, another thing I want to speak about is, though Nubia have slapped a screen on the back so that you could use the back cams, which is really cool. Another reason for it is so that you don't have to have a notch and that you don't have to have a pop-up, which is really awesome, I must say. And they have done it, but they have done it a little bit sloppy, since if you take a look here, the top bezel and the bottom bezel are actually kind of big, guys. That top one should be absolutely nothing if you ask me, but they have put a ton in this phone, including that 4000 milliampere battery. Now, the phone overall as a design, I'm really impressed with, and I really like these fingerprint sensors too. Really like how there is an always on display at the back of the phone and at the front of the phone, and I have checked, and the back one does disappear when you do indeed flip the phone over because of light sensors. Now, the cameras are absolutely phenomenal so far. I really can't wait to test them out, but so far so good, guys. The phone itself, the build quality of it, I mean, feels really sturdy, and I really like the curves of the always on display. I'm really digging the feel of the fingerprint sensors, and it's really cool that you get the option of using the left or the right one on the front or the back of the screen. And I really like how when you flip over the device, you can still continue to use your fingerprint sensors. And just by the way, guys, you can actually change the back completely with different apps, a different wallpaper and everything. I will try and get to that in a full review if I do release one. Let me know if you guys will be interested in that full review in the comments down below. Now, another thing I just want to say that I'm really appreciative of Nubia is that they have also included game space in here, even though it is not a gaming phone. Yes, we do have this wonderful Snapdragon 855 Plus processing chip, and it sucks that we are limited to a 60Hz refresh rate panel over here, but guys, this phone is exceptionally fast. It feels really smooth, and I must say, I'm really satisfied with it. If it wasn't for Google not being on it straight away, and for me having to try to figure out a workaround for it for you guys, I would say get this phone. It is one of the best budget phones around, but sadly I cannot say that for westernized people. But for those of you here in China that don't need Google apps, this phone is absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait to test it out, especially once I get the global software. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did unboxing the Nubia Z20. And until next time, guys, this is Technic.